kind of a special week in the, on the Glenn Beck program. We have a great week scheduled for you. We're going to be in Wilmington, Ohio, live on Wednesday. Bring your family and your friends. This is the quintessential American town that I think has a lot to teach America. And I would invite you to come do your Christmas shopping there because they have lost 7,000 jobs in a town of 12,000. And they're not giving up, man. They're going down swinging. This is a great town. We'll tell you more about that in a few minutes. There's less than 3 weeks now left in the year, which makes it a great time for Congress to screw you, quite honestly. I'm sorry. It's a time for bipartisan legislation that will protect you and your working family. They're working right now on a major tax increase. They're trying to protect you from it. That's what the spin is, but I always watch the other hand. What else is going on? They say it has a price tag of $855 billion. Well, is that even true? What's in this bill? Republican Congressman Jason Chaffetz joins me now. Congressman, how are you, sir?
Hey, Glenn, fired up, ready to go.
Oh, please don't say that. Jason, first of all, $855 billion. Is that counting the would-be tax increase?
Yeah, roughly about just under $550 billion of that scores, according to the Congressional Budget Office, actually accounts for, of the taxes, about 800, as you said, $50+ billion. So about 550 of that is if they raise the taxes and then cut them. And from my book, if you maintain the taxes, that's not a tax cut, but that's how they're wanting to score it.
I don't understand.
It's insane.
I don't understand how it's the media. The media gets away with it.
Yeah.
All right. But what else is in this? Because I'm beginning to think, I mean, what is the rush on this one? You guys can go in. You're going to get blamed for whatever else is in this bill next year. And I just have a gut feeling this isn't going to be good.
Well, the problem that I'm starting to see now that we've been able to look under the hood and actually start to look at some of these numbers is, remember the president came forward and said, oh, well, we need to extend unemployment. Well, that was about a $56 billion price tag. But now that's grown to about $300 billion. And they have thrown in so many other things that I just think for a conservative like myself, it is unpalatable. We're going to add $300 billion to our debt and no way to pay for it. There's no offset, no tough decision in Washington, D.C. that says, well, if we're going to spend money over here, then we're going to have to stop spending money over there. No, this is new money. It's new stimulus. That's what drives me crazy.
Have you checked to see
if the president...
Go ahead.
If the president had come forward and said, oh, you know what, the $3.5 trillion that we spend that's just not enough. I need another $300 billion. We would say absolutely no. But it comes under the guise of, well, we're just maintaining the taxes. And suddenly the spin gets in the way of the reality that we're going to add $300 billion in debt. We can't afford that.
What is going on, Jason? Because I hear that they're playing some new rules game where they're also extending the number of days now that you have left before you take the holiday. Have you heard this?
Yeah. Who knows? I'm headed back to Washington, D.C. tonight. I have no idea when we're coming home. If we're going to be there for Christmas. I have no idea.
I am really concerned everything bad happens at the holidays with this administration every time.
Last year, they passed an omnibus $550 billion package on the third week of December. It was a Friday. Nobody was paying attention. That's the way they do these things. Wait till Friday.
They also did the Fed, extended the TARP during the holidays, et cetera, et cetera. Jason, just keep an eagle eye out for us and tell your fellow Republicans, trust the American people. They're paying attention right now. Trust them. If it is wrong for the country, come back and do it later. Don't get sucked into a trap because of some false deadline. Don't do the wrong thing.
Thanks, Glenn. It is a trap. We shouldn't do it. It adds hundreds of billions of dollars to debt, and not one dime is paid for. Not one dime.
Okay, back in a minute. Special week of shows on the Glenn Beck program. I'm going to be in Wilmington, Ohio. It is a great town of about 12,500 people. About 7,500 people lost their job when DHL left town. But that hasn't broken their spirit. In fact, it's been done just the opposite. I'd like you to join me as we celebrate America's first Christmas in Wilmington. The people in Wilmington, I've been getting a lot of email from Wilmington and been seeing pictures of people are making signs out their yards, you know, welcome to Wilmington. It's so cool. And they've been opening their doors to us, and they're waiting for you. In today's local newspaper, a reader wrote an op-ed in the local paper that said he hopes that people will learn more about Wilmington. Quote, "I hope our determined unity is why he," I suppose it's me, "chose Wilmington as a model. I also hope and pray that his visit strengthens that unity and showcases to other communities what cooperation across political ideologies can do for a community hit by an economic crisis." Let me tell you something. I have no idea if this is a Republican, Democrat town. I don't really even care. What brought me to Wilmington, quite honestly, was my staff. We were going out, we were looking for miracles, and we were actually looking for a different miracle, and we stumbled onto this one. My staff came back and they said, "Glenn, you have to see this community." They have pulled together as people of faith and Americans, not as Republicans and Democrats. That ain't going to get us anywhere but into trouble. People pulling together and being the Americans that we know we are supposed to be and know we can be. That's what's going to save us. And I wanted to show that spirit to the rest of America. The city now, they tell me, is expecting thousands of people to visit Main Street area on Wednesday. I got a letter from a soldier who wrote in from Iraq. He called his family to make sure they got a hotel room so he and his family and his kids can come and celebrate America's first Christmas on Wednesday. The city has set up an online destinations visitors guide and a way for you to buy some of your Christmas presents from Wilmington to help their economy out. The Wilmington General Store website is, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's wilmingtongeneralstore.com. There's a shuttle service that is set up to take people from the fairgrounds to the downtown area. There might be 4 people there, I don't know. But they're sure opening themselves up to welcome you. Several local and county offices and businesses are going to have everything open so you can come in and get some hot cocoa or whatever and warm up just a bit. During the day, I'm going to be there starting at 6 o'clock in the morning. We have events, a variety of different things. I'll be broadcasting my radio show live, then the TV show at 5 p.m., and then a special stage show, America's First Christmas. It's all sold out, and all the proceeds go to help Wilmington out, but you can still see it. One of the great places to see it is at the Sugar Tree Ministries. That is the soup kitchen. They've set it up, and we've provided access to the broadcast so you could watch it there. Also, Generations Pizza is going to be broadcasting it live. You're going to have a good time meeting people just like you and experiencing that real special spirit of Christmas. Bring your family, do your shopping, bring your joy. You will come as you are, but you will leave stronger. You can also see it on InsiderExtreme.com. GlennBeck.com, Insider Extreme. We'll see you Wednesday. You know, the president's minister, or whatever he is, Jim Wallace, and I'm sure the president has no idea this is happening, is running around the whole world bad-mouthing me and saying that I have a problem with social justice, which I do. Social justice, as it's described by Marxist Jim Wallace, he believes that the government needs to do these things, and so he goes to the churches and he says, you got to get the government involved. The only kind of social justice I think Jesus was into was the kind that changed a man's heart. It made the individual pick up and say, I have to do this. I never once read in the gospel, find it for me, will you, Jim, where Jesus says, you know what you got to do? Go take it from that guy and have it taken to the government and have the government then redistribute it over here. That's ridiculous. Never once did Jesus talk about taxes being the way to solve the problems. You got to change your heart. Well, I found this story this weekend, Mount Bethel United Methodist Church outside Atlanta. I didn't know what their philosophy was. I just thought this was a good thing. Senior minister at Mount Bethel, Dr. Randy Mickler, was working with homeless outreach, trying to figure out how to help the homeless men in the city. He took a tour to see what he could learn about how the men were coping. And that's when he learned how bad things really were, that men were living under bridges and in tent cities, maybe just a scrap of plastic to keep the rain off. Well, things were going to get bad and had a big storm coming into Atlanta. So yesterday, Dr. Randy had an idea. The church has gym, it has showers. They could open the church to the homeless. He didn't tell the congregation. He didn't suggest that the congregation pay more in taxes. He instead stood up in front of his congregation and asked them this.
I can't do this on my own. I can't even say do it. It's your church. But if you would be in support of a ministry like this for these kind of severe winter nights that would involve Mount Bethel, would you stand?
Now, he asked that question in 2 different services, and everyone stood. That was about 3,000 people supporting it. Then he said, we need volunteers, and we need donations. Earlier today, we called him. He said it was spontaneous volunteerism. People lined the aisles waiting to sign up to volunteer. They drove buses, they cleaned, they cooked, they donated piles of clothes, food, 200 air mattresses, hundreds of blankets, sleeping bags, towels, toiletries, and everything else. They didn't involve the government. Instead, they stood as Christians together and did it themselves. Social justice, Jim. Social justice. Joking with the audience that tomorrow's show is going to be fun. It's the one show of the year where I try really hard not to say, we're all going to die. I'm going to try. I can't promise, but on tomorrow's show, I am definitely going to try not to say that. I mean, after all, I'm preparing. I'm wearing my ho-ho-ho tie. So it's got to be fun. And then on Wednesday, we have our show from Wilmington, Ohio, America's First Christmas, a really spectacular show you don't want to miss. From New York, good night, America.